Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Ashley. This is my husband Justin.
Ew.
And we are a military family.
Yep.
So if you're like us and you got your orders or your assignment to PCS to Japan and you kind of freaked out because you didn't know what to expect. So I decided to make this video of some tips for your PCS because there wasn't really anything for us, right?
Nope.
Couldn't really find anything that was helpful. So hopefully this helps you guys. Our first tip, if you have a pet, start the process to get them over here, like immediately. I would say make an appointment with base vet only. Do not go to a vet that is, I don't know, not affiliated? I don't even know what you say.
Yeah, not affiliated with the military. Works.
Yeah, just because they aren't going to know the process, and so you're going to have to do a lot of the work on your own. If you go to the base vet, they know everything. They can do things for you. You don't have to look it up.
Yeah, in our case, we went to kind of both of them. So we did some
and
local, and then we did some at the military vet. And like she said, we had to do a lot of work making sure everything got put back on the right form. Had to go back multiple times to make sure everything was corrected, signed the correct way. A real pain in the butt. Whereas when we went directly to the vet on base, they did everything for us. They said, oh yeah, also you forgot this, schedule this.
And make sure your dog or cat, your pet, has all of their shots and vaccines up to date. One of the biggest things here for coming to Japan is they are a rabies-free country. So you have to have 2 consecutive rabies shots that have not expired. And then you have to get what is called a FAVN test done, which is a blood test on your dog to show that they don't have rabies. And then after that is done is when you can start your 180-day quarantine to come here. So luckily you don't have to do the 180 days when you're in Japan. You can start it once, or you can start it wherever you are, I guess if you're US or a different country. Okay. But that would be the first thing I would do, is make sure you have everything with your vet, your shots up to date, and the rabies and FAVN test done.
Yeah, that's really important, particularly if you're not living on base. So if you don't have a family and you don't have to live on base. If you're living off base, you have to put them in a kennel, put them with a vet, and they have to be monitored all the time. If you're living on base, then you can finish your quarantine in your house, but if not, like I said, they have to be in the kennel, which sucks.
Yeah, so you can start quarantine wherever you currently are living, and then finish it once you arrive. But you have to make sure that all the shots and tests are completed before you can even get here. So our next step would be to make sure you make your appointments for your medical and dental clearance. I know for me, it was a little bit difficult for me to make my appointment just because I did not use TRICARE. I used my own health insurance that I had through my job at the time. It was easier for me just to go 5 minutes from where we lived and worked versus driving an hour away to go to the doctor on base.
Yeah, and this is really important. Being in a leadership position, seeing everyone that's inbound, I'd say the number one thing that turns people away from Misawa is not being able to get their EFMP paperwork approved on time or at all. I see a lot of people disqualified just because it is a smaller clinic here. They don't have a lot of the specialties. So if you have a special needs, make sure you fill out that screener, get everything done quickly so that can get approved and you're able to get here on time and you're not rerouted to a different base at the last second.
Yeah, we had to get that done for me.
Yeah, but not rerouted.
No.
Yeah.
We got it done.
Yeah.
Good thing I don't have anything serious. Just asthma, I can't breathe sometimes. So that was medical-wise. Dental-wise, so if you need dental work done, make sure you have an appointment set early in advance. That way you can get that dental work done before you can go, because then the orders are going to be held up until that can get cleared. Again,
really small clinic here, so for the dependent in particular, they don't let you really schedule very many dental appointments here. And if you're here for 2 to 4 years or you extend it here longer, they don't want to send you here with any problems that you're not going to be able to get fixed and worsens your health, kind of makes you in a bad situation. So make sure you get it done early. Our next tip would be to have your active duty member right here contact TMO.
And that's just regarding, specifically regarding getting on the rotator. So if you are coming here and you're having to fly,
swim,
come by boat. So I would suggest trying to get on the rotator versus booking a commercial flight.
Yeah, it's just way more convenient. You land directly onto base. It is a shared runway with the commercial airport, but it's still way easier flying direct from Seattle to here directly onto the base versus having to go around, make your sponsors meet you over there, get a taxi, whatever you need to do. Definitely easier to go straight on, particularly for pets too. If you go through a commercial service, you do have to go through the official Department of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture? Ministry. I think the ministry
Yeah,
is
if
here.
you fly commercially with your pets, it can cost anywhere between $5,000 to $12,000 to have your pet fly commercially out here, just to get them here. If you can't get on the rotator, make sure you ask for a pet slot. Because it is it's only like a couple $100, right?
Yeah, I think for us, he's a middleweight dog, and it's medium size. Yeah, and it measures your weight and then includes your kennel. For us, I think it was like $175, something like that. Yeah, so about $175, and it flies direct again, way easier. And then one thing to consider whenever you're sending one pet in a kennel is to make sure you feed them early enough to use the restroom before. So we did probably...
We fed him the night before we left.
The night before, pretty late, so he's still not super full or super hungry in the morning, but was able to use the restroom. I think we just gave him like a couple little snacks on the way there. And then other people have said like freezing water thing to put on the cage door.
We did that, but I think we kind of realized it was kind of pointless because once it melted and they were moving it so much, it was just going to get the water everywhere.
Yeah, it definitely melted before we were even loading the plane. Contacting TMO, there's only 10 pet slots available per each rotator. So whether you're flying here or Yokota, the rotator goes straight to Korea afterwards. So you're vying for the 10 spots between multiple bases. Actually, I don't know if the one that goes to Yokota is bigger, so maybe there's more. But either way, very limited space. You're only allowed 2 per family.
Yeah, 2 pets.
Even with any exception policy, you're not allowed to do more. So very important that you do it early. Typically, TMO allows you to schedule about 2.5 months in advance. And then you just got to be right on it. For us, they kept telling us, no, there's no pet slots. No, there's no pet slots. But they were actually looking at the wrong base.
Ask them for proof, right?
Prove it to you that there's no pet slots available. Yeah. Particularly if you're on your game, you're on your shit, and you're already like, first day it's available, you ask to be scheduled and say there's no slots, like us.
Something's up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lady didn't know what she was doing. She kept telling us there wasn't any spots.
No. She was trying to fly us to a different base, though, so.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay. And also another advantage of having your pet on the rotator is that one of the vet techs from the veterinarian out here, they actually meet you at the airport on base. And so once your dog gets pulled off, they will be right there with you, and they will have you fill out all the paperwork that's needed for the base vet, and then they will set up an appointment for a few days later for their first initial appointment. Our next tip is have your active duty member contact housing before you get here to whatever base you're going to. So it just makes the process a lot easier and less stuff that you have to do once you actually get here, because you do have to go to housing within, I think, 24 hours of arriving. So if you have your paperwork done, they already have everything on you, and then they can just show you what's available. For like us, they told us before we even got here that there wasn't going to be the housing that we were supposed to get available, so we kind of knew what to expect already.
Depending on the base, they could put you on a wait list as soon as you send stuff in early. If the HEAT program, I think it's called, if that's actually working, the base actually use it, they'll put you on the wait list in advance. If not, emailing directly to the housing office, and they can send you the forms. Best case, you're on the waiting list and you might know what house you're getting as soon as you get there. Worst case, whenever you get here and you're tired and groggy and don't want to do anything, that's less paperwork to fill out.
So we would just suggest going and looking on Facebook and online at the base, I guess, website, just to see what housing is there and what they offer.
So tip number 5 is to contact the lodging office to get your TLF reserved in advance. And if you have any issues, go to your sponsor and see if they can help you out. Sometimes it's a little bit easier doing it on the base, particularly if you're CONUS or in Europe or anywhere else that you're crossing the time zone. It's definitely easier than trying to stay up all night. Even though they're supposed to be 24/7, they don't always answer the phone.
Yeah, and also this is helpful if you have a pet. There's only a very limited amount of pet rooms available, so try to get them that as soon as possible. If the TLF or pet-friendly TLF isn't available, then make sure you contact the pet kennel because you're going to have to save a spot for them.
If you run into issues, contact your sponsor and they should be able to drive over there and make a reservation for you.
Yeah,
it's actually easier because I think you have to put some sponsor information in there if you're moving in, so way easier.
Our next tip is keep all your records together. This is very important. So if you're like me, you make a binder. So this is our PCS binder. It is a pretty thick one. It was meant to keep all of our stuff in here. However, Kobe's records didn't fit in here with all that we had, so we have a binder just for Kobe's records. This is all his stuff that's needed because the vet and everyone need to go through them. So our PCS binder, which we're probably going to keep, and then every time we PCS, just kind of change it out and put new information in. We have just a little pouch to keep stuff in. I think we kept our passports in there and
passports and receipts as we got them.
Yeah. And then we have a little tab for orders and travel. So it basically just copies of the orders that is going to be needed and any travel documents or reservations that was needed. I did purchase a few little templates that were already made. So this one's a trip planner, so it just has the days, and then you can input the days and what exactly is going on in each day. So for us, I drove up from California to Seattle, so we just kind of mapped that out, and Justin flew from Indiana, I think. Right?
Yeah,
we also have an out processing tab because it's all Justin stuff that he needed to out process, I guess.
Just keeping track of all the forms and stuff, everything you have to do.
Yeah, we have our household goods information, just like when the movers came, we kept all the paperwork in there. So we just have a lot of paperwork in there.
Yeah, and the nice thing about having this binder is you have to set up a NEO folder when you get here if you have dependents, non-combative evacuation operation folder. So basically we're able to just transfer things over from the folder to our NEO folder. And then I don't know if she's going to do it, but the link below is where she purchased her templates from. Definitely check it out. It seemed like it was worth the buy.
Yeah, I got it. It helped us, I think.
For no other reason, just getting organized.
Yeah, and then this is all Kobe's because I keep everything from his. Every time he went to the vet, that's all mine. All of his. Everything.
Yeah, it helped out a lot. Number 6. Make sure your spouse is on your orders.
Yes.
Because people forget to put it on there a lot. Or they put it in weird places.
Pretty common.
Which is okay if it's in a weird place as long as you can find it on the orders somewhere.
A lot of the times when people are looking at our orders, they couldn't find my name. And so we had to point it out to them.
Yeah, as long as it's on there that says they are command sponsored and able to go with you.
Yeah, if you're not on there, then guess what? Your spouse is not going. So our next tip is to make sure you budget in for overpay of your BAH from your last base and then coming to here because you will have to pay it back.
Yeah, luckily I was given a heads up about it, but I think we ended up having to pay almost $700 back the month after we got here. And basically it's just the time frame between when you out-process your last base until you get here. They keep giving you BAH until it processes in the system, so they put in the request here, and then they give you your next paycheck, and they're like, oh yeah, we paid you BAH for that cycle. And they take it right back.
So tip number 8 for us would be to make sure you budget in for things that you'll have to buy once you get here up front. So like vehicles and any items like cleaning supplies or food, I guess. Yeah. And just make sure you budget in anything that you're not going to be packing in your suitcases that you're going to have to buy over here.
And then you do get a DLA, dislocation allowance.
Yeah.
Which is partially what you can budget for, but in the interim that you don't get that.
Yeah, but I think you're still going to pay up front and then you get that money back. Yeah. So you still want to budget and make sure you have that money. Our next tip is, so you're going to pack what you need. When you go on the rotator, you get 2 suitcases each and they have to be at least under 70 pounds. They are strict with that. What we did, just for some tips, we did 1 suitcase each for clothes, and then our second suitcase was just items that we were going to need that we didn't want to rebuy. For our clothes, because we were putting all of our clothes into 1 suitcase, what we did is we bought those big Ziploc travel bags. So what it is, you just put all like your clothing in, and then you roll it up to get the air out, and it compresses everything. And that was really helpful so that we could compact a lot of clothes into 1 suitcase.
Yeah, they're like the vacuum travel bags, except you don't need a vacuum, which makes them travel.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
But we did use a vacuum bag just for our pillows and blankets and shower curtain, I think.
Yeah.
Just because we weren't going to be opening that for a while, so we vacuumed that one and kept that. But because you're traveling and you're going to be opening your bag for clothes, we used the resealable ones that you didn't need a vacuum. Our other suitcase, a couple items that we packed I think were helpful to us. Like I said earlier, we did pillows, blankets, sheets, shower curtain, pots and pans. What else did we do? Maybe just one pot and pan. Soap, so like laundry detergent and dish soap. Just because that's stuff that you're not going to be able to ship over here, but you can put it in your suitcase. Yeah. And that way, if you had stuff left over from previous that you didn't want to throw away, you can just pack it in your suitcase.
Yeah, and it's nice. They'll give you some rental furniture and some pots and pans. Some of them are good quality, some of them aren't. It's kind of hard to tell which ones you're going to get. So if you have a favorite pan that you love making eggs on, nice little flipper that goes with it. Pack that with you. And then sheets to cover the furniture if you're a neat freak like most people.
Well, not just furniture, your bed. You're going to need sheets.
Yeah, definitely sheets for your bed.
Yeah, and maybe, we bought this when we got here, but a mattress cover because you're going to be renting a bed and you never know what's on those. Yeah. So our next tip would be to decide what you're going to do with your vehicles that you have at home. So for us, we sold one vehicle and then decided to store it. So the military will store a vehicle for you guys. I don't know if it's just one or if they'll do more than one. But we stored my vehicle and sold his.
I looked into, present value analysis, net present value to see what it was going to cost us to sell and buy again when we got back versus paying car payment for that time frame. If you're interested in it, you can look up on how to do that. Net present value analysis. For me, it worked out.
Well, also, I had just purchased my car like a month before we found out where we were going, so that didn't help at all.
Yeah, not much.
Our next tip would be to downsize your housing. You are coming to Japan. All housing is tiny here. Extremely. So either I would suggest downsizing and then figuring out what you're going to put in storage. Our next tip is to ask your sponsor to set up an APO box for you. And that just helps so that you can make sure your mail is forwarded before leaving wherever you currently are living. And then also, if you want to ship stuff to yourself, you have an address to where you can ship it to.
Yep. You can work with TMO to do what's called a partial ditty, do it yourself. Actually, they call it something else now. But that's what everyone knows it as. A partial ditty, and basically get reimbursed for some of it. Talk to them in advance and they'll tell you how much you will get reimbursed per pound, etc. And then make sure that you're finding the appropriate way to ship so that you get most bang for your buck.
Yeah, well also if you're shipping on base, I think there's like a 70-pound limit, so you can't send a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't think
Is that 70 pounds per package or 70 pounds?
Yeah, per package. So they will send stuff back.
So
I've heard people doing that.
5 or 6 69-pound packages. If you haven't lived overseas before and you don't know what an APO box is, basically lets you keep a U.S. address. So you get to use USPS, and for anyone that wants to send you things, you just have to pay normal U.S. postage rates.
Yeah, it's nice. And then our last and final tip is, if you have any questions, ask your sponsor. They are the best person to go to for any questions and answers. They will be the one that's supposed to help you do everything.
Definitely rely on your active duty member to push the sponsor to do things, get things answered that you need to. And then if not, maybe you have friends over here you can ask to either nudge the sponsor or hook you up as well. Yeah,
your sponsor is probably going to be your best bet for any questions that you have. You can look at the base Facebook group page and ask there, but just be aware of trolls. They troll a lot.
Yeah, if you follow it, Facebook page of the base, make sure you search before you comment, because that's the number one thing people get trolled for. And then alternate sources include Military One Source, which has some base information, or you can have your active duty member get on the base SharePoints, their public site, any of the normal websites for the base. It gives you a lot of information, not always up to date, but it will give you good points of contact. Again, if your sponsor isn't giving you those for you.
So I think that's it for our tips. If you guys have any questions that you have for us that you want us to answer, just let us know down below in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Health insurance that I had through my job at the time versus driving an hour to the base vet.
So basically we were able to just
a little tab for what is it? Order.
Odors.
Odors. We have a tab for odors.
That's
We have a tab for odors.